Yeah.
All right. Let's get a recap of the start of conference. Not the start you necessarily wanted in the first game. Double overtime, always a fun time for that. But then you come out on Saturday and you set the tone of conference play. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, your entire fall semester, your non-conference schedule is just to prepare you for conference. And I felt like we were really well prepared to kick it off. We were able to host Utah Valley, and man, it was just a hard-fought game. It was a heartbreaker. It was devastating to lose by 1 at home in a double overtime. There's about 50 possessions you'd like to get back. But our players, our team did what they've done all year. They've just done an incredible job bouncing back from a really disappointing loss and just getting back to work, being really focused, playing well together in practice every day. And so the way we played in the game Saturday against Seattle is exactly what we saw our players do every day in practice. So it was good to see them carry over that intensity, the effort, just the togetherness in the game on Saturday.
And I know your team is mostly known for its shooting. You kind of took a page out of Brett's book with defense early on in that game against Seattle. 17 turnovers in the first half. Just talk about, was there an extra sense of emphasis on that, or was it just kind of you guys were rolling?
I think this team understands that we get some uncontested shots if we force turnovers. It's really hard to guard live ball turnovers, and so they've done a good job throughout the course of the season, just bringing more intensity, each week on the defensive end. And it takes a team effort. It takes 5 players playing together as one to force turnovers, and I think we did a great job of that to start the game out. We were probably in our most aggressive full court defensive philosophy that we could be in to start that game. I was kind of mad all week long, just wanting to get a game back under our belt, and so we were super aggressive to start the game out and helped us secure a pretty good lead just by forcing turnovers.
And that was pretty much the difference in the game.
Sure, by Mia Rivers. It's been a while since we've had a point guard that really wanted to get after it and play good on-ball defense, and really starts with her. She's generally the one on the point of attack, and she establishes the tone with her pressure, and then everybody else just gets involved and plays up the floor. And so, to force turnovers, to get defensive stops, you've got to have 5 players on the floor playing together.
And then we're talking about Bella, historic milestone, kind of the captain of this team. How good does it feel to see that kind of work? It's work she puts in outside of the public eye. The work only you and your teammates see. How good does it feel for you to be able to see her have that accomplishment?
Yeah, great accomplishment for Bella Earl, scoring her 1,000th point in our game on Saturday, and we're still celebrating that with her. And she'll be the first to tell you she didn't do it by herself. It takes all the teammates around her, finding her when she's open. Bella is just such a great example of an ACU student athlete. She excels in the classroom. She excels on the court. Everyone in the ACU community knows who number 3 Bella Earl is. She's really planted roots at ACU, and I'm just really proud of the success that she's had. But it's not has not just been handed over to her. It's not luck. She puts in the work outside of practice, and every day in practice, you know what you're going to get from her. She works really hard. In 3.5 years I've coached her, I've never had to coach effort or energy. You know that she's going to bring forth great effort every day.
And then one thing I noticed, you talked about Mia already in that intensity. Your other point guard that you could sub in, Brianna Davis, it seems like whenever those two get subbed in for each other, there's no big change. How good is it to have, especially on an important position like point guard for that?
Yeah, I refer to my point guards as our quarterback. The quarterback has so much responsibility. They have to know so much more than anybody else on the court. Most of the time, they're the front line of defense at the point of attack. And Mia and Bree they're good defenders. They have really figured out, like our style of play. I think that they're running our offense really well. They're both becoming more and more scoring threats for us. You know, I think the two of them, I didn't look this morning, but I think they're averaging together about 13 points a game. And you get 13 points out of that point guard spot, that's a big deal. And so they're doing a really good job for us. And I mean, I would agree with you. When Bree comes in, there's no letdown or anything like that. I mean, they're both doing a really good job for us.
And I'm looking ahead to this week. You have Grand Canyon at home. It's always a tough matchup. Talk about what it's going to take to kind of beat that good Grand Canyon.
Yeah, Grand Canyon's really well coached. They've got some of the most talented players in the league on their team. I feel like everybody on their team is a senior or super senior this year, so just so much college basketball experience on that team, and they're playing like that. They're playing very confident. You know, they walk in every gym with a little bit of a swagger about them. You know, they are a great defensive team. You have to take care of the basketball, so limiting our turnovers is a big deal. Got to keep them away from offensive rebounds, great offensive rebounding team, but just understanding each individual player's strengths. I mean, they've got great basketball players on their team, and so we have to do a good job this week of preparing our players. Like, you know, they have to understand matchups. You know, what is it that this player does that can hurt us? You know, we've got to stand our ground and try to take some things away.
And then you have Cal Baptist right after that, so it's tough matchups all week. I mean, they won the conference last year. It's always a good matchup, tough physical matchup whenever you guys meet up. Kind of talk about that one.
You know, I always feel like when we play Cal Baptist, and I have the scout every year, it's like playing ourselves. You know, they play a lot of 4-out, 1-in. They shoot lots of threes, try to score in transition. Neither team has really hung their hat on defense much over the years. So it's usually, you know, really well-balanced game, and our games come down to the wire every time we play. So it's an exciting matchup when we play Cal Baptist. We've, you know, got to take care of business on Thursday, and then we'll go out to California on Friday.
So you guys have won 12 games this year, you know, 10 of your last 11. How's the vibe kind of been like at practice, you know, in the locker room, maybe around campus? How's it been?
I think you've got the right people in the locker room this year, players that really embraced putting the team first. It's not about individual accolades or playing time. I think it's a group of women that are mature enough to handle that. You know, that's not human nature to put a group in front of your own, you know, desires or whatever, but I think that they are really embracing that, and they understand when we're all celebrating one another, when we're playing together as a team, that's when we come out on top. And so just really proud of their selflessness and just the way they celebrate one another.
Yeah, as a coach, what have been some of the things that have stood out to you through the first 17 games of the season?
Our point guard play is really good. They're doing a good job offensively, but just defensively, they really set the tone for everybody. They love on-ball defense, and it's been a while since we've had point guards that were like that, and so they're doing a great job with that. I think our wings are playing really well. Bella Earl and Peyton Hull's a really good tandem. You know, if you really focus on one, then you kind of forget about the other one, and they're doing a great job of complementing each other, especially offensively. Meredith Mays and Emma Troxel rounding out our starting lineup are very consistent, scoring threats for us. Emma, you can count on her to take 1 or 2 charges every night. She's a big catalyst for us on the defensive side as well. So, you know, I think the starters are really doing their job, and they're starting games out really well. You know, and I kind of forget sometimes 3 are sophomores. You know, this is their I guess going to our 4th semester of playing basketball for us, but they're carrying heavy responsibilities for us and handling that really well.
And you just won your first conference game of the season. How do you think you can continue to stack them?
I mean, we got to continue playing hard and playing smart. I think when you look back at games that we've lost this year, we didn't play very smart. We were loose with the basketball, way too many turnovers. Just, you know, being smart and gritty, we've got to continue that kind of an attitude going into these games. I mean, we're playing 2 of the best teams in the league this week. You know, playing together as a team and being really gritty will help us, you know, be in those ball games and give us a chance to win.
You've coached a few teams prior now, so I'm going to have to ask you now, 17 games in, how would you say this group stacks up compared to those other teams?
You know, I told our team when we won the Lobo Classic in New Mexico that Since I've been here, every team that's gone on an 8-game win streak has won a conference championship. And so, I think they're playing kind of like that. We definitely don't want to have disappointments like we did in our first WAC game. But, we've got to consistently come to practice every day and work hard. Don't take any team for granted. Gosh, the WAC's so crazy. Any team can beat any team in the WAC. And so, we can't get complacent for sure. But I do think this is a team that has a potential to have a really special season.
All right.
Go Fight Win.
Where are you guys flying into?
Ontario.
Okay.
We good there? Class is good out. You want to give it a sec? What's up, dude? Good. You want to come do this for me? Okay. All you have to do is say, man, we suck. We're no good. That's all it takes, man.
What time do you guys get in? Saturday?
You mean back from Seattle or to Seattle? We got back from Seattle last night about 6 p.m. And so we got into Seattle about 1 a.m. Game day. Yes, good times. Good times, man. But I was proud of the guys who played their tails off. This didn't come out with the right outcome, but played the hard.
This conference is
Yeah, man.
like that.
Home teams are 10-1. Anyway, I'm ready when you are.
All right. Start of conference play. Not necessarily the start you guys wanted, but you played pretty close games so far. Kind of talk about how you feel about the first 2 games of conference.
Yeah, we've played well. 2 road games. The home team is 10-1 right now after 11 games in the WAC play. And that's not by any means we don't want to accept that. I mean, we have another road game staring us in the face. The WAC likes to do that to us. I think it's like the 3rd year in a row we've started like this on the road. But we've always been able to bounce back because we have a good perspective. And so we know that the league is not done in 2 or 3 games. It's a course of a whole season. And so we've prepared ourselves all year for this kind of stretch. And man, we had a chance to win the other night. Credit to them; they made a heck of a play. I thought I made a bonehead decision. Calling a timeout. It can go both ways. I mean, there's been times where I didn't use that, and I thought I should have called a timeout, right? So, but you question yourself after you lose a close game like that. So, but man, our guys fought to the bitter end, man. We got a steal to tie the game, with 10 seconds left or whatever it was. And so, fought really hard. I was really pleased with our offensive effort in the first half at Seattle. I mean, I think that, we've been struggling in that area, right? And I thought the guys played with confidence. And we didn't do so well in the second half, but neither did they. That's why it was a good game. And so, anyway, but man, I know it's a tough start, but man, we're still plugging away, and we still have belief in that locker room for sure.
And the fact that you were able to kind of stay close with that home team, especially with all the success they've had early in the season, what kind of hope does that bring for your team that, hey, it's okay, you flip a coin, that game's a different outcome?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, both games, if we just make a few free throws, we're okay. I mean, at Seattle, I mean, I think they shot 29 of them, we shot 9. Not sure how that works, but man, we didn't. If we just make 3 more, if we go 6 for 9, we win the game, right? So it doesn't really matter if we just do our part. And but man, look, it's not how you start the race; it's how you finish. And we talked about that. A lot of good runners, man, that always, distance runners that start in the back of the pack and they finish in the front. And so that's the mindset we have, man. It's a process. It's a total body of work. And I think a lot of people counted us out last year, and then we turned around and won 8 in a row. It's just what we do. We're going to keep fighting and doing what we do no matter what. And Am I disappointed that we dropped these first two? Sure, absolutely. And so are the guys in the locker room. But we also know that it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
And the fact that you did have kind of that slow start again last year, and you still were able to pick it up. Does that give kind of, hey, it's okay, don't freak out? Is that kind of helpful?
I think it does help a little bit. I mean, we don't have a ton of returners. You know, we have 10 new faces this year. But like I told them the other day, they're not new anymore. You know, we're in January. And so they were new in August and September. But they weren't a part of that last year. But we do have Hunter and Leo and Colby and Nas and Yanni that were here that can reference that and know that, man, it is a long race. And so, I mean, nobody was playing as good as we were down the stretch last year. And so, you know, I think they do, but we don't want to wait that long. We want to make sure we do better right now. And so you got to win your home games in conference play. We haven't had one yet. Don't have one yet. We still have to go on the road one more time, but you also have to steal some on the road. And when we dropped an opportunity to do that on Saturday, we were right there with a 10-point lead with 10 minutes to go, and we let that slip away. And so we just got to learn from it. We'll watch film today, and we'll get better from it. And hopefully the next time we're in that scenario, we take care of business.
And we know Keon, he's going to score, going to be able to do that. But Hubbard stepped up, had 13 points of himself. Other guys stepping up. How?
Might need to rethink our time, man. We do 10. What's up, Nas? You want to come over here and talk to the media? Huh? You want to come over here and talk to the media? Okay. Yeah. That's the most I've heard him talk in 2 years. $10 a.m. might be our time, not 10:30. But
10:51 for me.
all right.
We all
Rephrase
know
the question, or
Keon
re-
can-
re-
We all
re-ask.
know Keon can score.
Yeah.
But the fact that other players are kind of stepping up and taking on a little bit more of a scoring role.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel as a coach?
No, it's great, man. I think Braden is kind of what we were missing offensively. To be honest, I think it's why we've been better offensively the last two games, is because Braden's been able to step up. And really, we've always known he had the ability. It's just have the confidence. I think, he shot the ball with confidence the other day at Seattle. I think even at Utah Valley, he was still kind of, he played with more confidence, but he still was questioning what's his role. And we talked about it. And I think when he saw what he did at Utah Valley, and there, it's part of the deal, right? It's why it takes guys a semester, if you're lucky, to feel comfortable. And that was my biggest concern with all these new faces this year, was that it was going to take a while. And Braden is definitely starting to find his stride. And, even banked one in the other day. And I told him it's a good shot. It goes in because you shot it with confidence. It doesn't matter how it goes in. It counts the same. And so, just really pleased with his effort, but also some other guys. Yanni's stepping up, and he's hitting a 3 a game for us now, which we need. But it's not just the scoring. Yanni's really done a good job of stepping it, playing some point for us. Yanni has played 3 different positions for us over the course of the last 3 weeks with injuries and all that kind of stuff. And he's just ball control. He's helped us with that. And so we've got to, continue that. But I think we're heading in the right direction.
And now you got probably one of the toughest tests in the WAC, Grand Canyon on the road. You know that place is going to be rough, and you know it's going to be loud. You know that's going to be a tough game. This kind of a limits test for how you guys will do for the season, I think. Talk about just what kind of mindset do you have going into that game?
Well, look, it's a great environment. It's a great place to play. We're going to miss them when they leave the league, just because it's a fun place to go play. But at the same time, is it a test for how we're going to do the rest of the season? I don't think so. I think the answer is yes to that. If you're looking at how do we play with composure? Do we play with how do we do in that kind of environment, right? Bottom line is we've played really well there in the past, and we have not been able to win there yet, but we've played really well there. And so I'm confident, going into the game. We're going to play the way we play. We're going to go out there. We're going to be aggressive defensively. Offensively, we're going to play with confidence. But what's hurt us in the last couple of years when we've gone there is they've made a big run, right? And we haven't been able to sustain that. The crowd gets behind them and all of that. And so that's something we're going to have to do a good job of, And then, hopefully we have some experienced officials in this game. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's called, it's not crazy like it's been the last couple games. And, and it's, if we can get to the free throw line, I like our chances.
And then Saturday, first home game in the WAC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How good would that feel? How good does it feel that you're going to be able to be at home and kind of in your room?
Yeah, man. Saturday, I don't even know I haven't even thought about it. It's going to be fun to be here. I'm glad we have the students back. We need all of them to show up. I know it's a Saturday, but they can still come out. But we need the people in Abilene to come support this team. Like I said, you can't look at, the last couple games. We've played really good basketball this year. We've played, one of the toughest schedules in the WAC by far, non-conference. We tested ourselves. I've never been somebody who's worried about our record. I want to make sure that we're testing ourselves. So we do play great basketball in February and March. And we've been able to do that in the past. And so, but we need these people to come out here and support these guys because they're working their tails off. They represent Abilene Christian the right way. They play hard. It's the kind of basketball that people here are used to watching. Man, I think if they come out and support these guys, they'll be pleased with the product that they see.
So what have been some of the roses and thorns you've kind of seen from this team?
It's been up and down, which I anticipated. And I think that, these guys have never lost their belief. They've never, sometimes when you go through like losing streaks or struggles, guys kind of tend to look at you a little bit like, man, are we doing the right thing? Are we, these guys continue to come every single day and work. We'll have an unbelievable practice today. We do. I mean, I told my staff just a little bit ago, and I said, man, it amazes me with this group that they continue to come every single day and work the way they do. Because sometimes I've coached great teams and I've coached teams that struggled. And a lot of times those teams that struggle, they don't do that. They start to kind of lose their belief a little bit, and you have to constantly try to come up with ideas and things to keep their belief. I haven't had to do that with this group, and which is what makes me feel really confident, that, once we get this little stretch behind us, man, I think this team is going to take off. I'm really confident in that because of the way that they prepare, because of the way that they work, the struggles for us has obviously been on the offensive side of the ball. And that falls on me. I think that we have a defensive identity that is not only do our players know it, but everybody in the country knows it. But our offensive identity has struggled a little bit, and that's not usually the case. But I think with I've struggled trying to find the right places and the right spots to get guys the ball. I think I have that figured out now, so I'm hopeful that that's going to change. But we've struggled with our offensive identity up to this point, but I think we've got that fixed.
So I was just going to ask you about this past game. You guys were up double digits, I believe, with 2 minutes left in the game, and then it kind of just went cold, and Seattle was able to make their way back in. How do you think you can prevent that from happening again? Yeah,
I think so what we have to do, what this team has to get better at, is that look, offense comes and goes. And sometimes you'll hit 5 or 6 shots in a row, and then you won't hit a shot for 5 minutes, right? It's just the way it goes. But defense never leaves. And I think what we have done and what we did the other day at Seattle was we stopped doing our job defensively, right? Like we started, and what I mean by that is we started worrying too much about, well, this is how they scored last time. I want to make sure I take that away. Instead of just continuing to do your job the way it's supposed to be done. And in the long course of the game, a 40-minute game, it all works out in your favor if you can do that. It's when you start breaking off and doing different things, right? And I think that's where we're running into problems in the second half, as if a team makes a run or if we get down or whatever. On the defensive side, we start to do some things a little different, which causes you to foul and causes you to do some other things. And so just continuing to get them to just trust that, look, man, if you just continue to do what we do, it'll all be okay. I think that we're way better at that now than we were before. And so I think we're going to continue to get better at that.
So, this Thursday is a huge, conference game, hostile environment, like we said. Also, the final game of this 3-game road trip, it's, a bit of a losing time for this team, unfortunately. But how huge would it be to just go into, Grand Canyon, get this win, get back on track?
Huge. I think even though it was here last year when we beat these guys, it propelled us a little bit. We'd already won some games. We were on a win streak, but I think it solidified kind of where we were. And You know, to go to Grand Canyon, to a place like Grand Canyon against a team, the quality of them, and play well would be huge. You know, I think just for these guys to trust in themselves, like, and to trust that they are worthy, you know, and because we are. We can compete with anybody in the country. And I know that, and it's these guys getting the belief that, and I think this Thursday presents that opportunity. But I can tell you this, man, Grand Canyon's really good. But so is Cal Baptist, and so is Seattle, and so is Utah Valley, and so is Utah Tech, who's 2-0 in our league, and Southern Utah, and UTA, and Tarleton. I mean, this league is a basketball league. It's a top 15 league in the country. And so every single night you're going to bring it. I said before the league started, we won't have any undefeated team. 2 or 3 losses maybe wins the league. It may be more than that. And here we are with everybody already, you know, other than 2 teams that have played 2 home games. Everybody has a loss on their record already, including Grand Canyon. So it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out February for sure, and end of January.
I have one thing. Around this time last year, you guys kind of found that identity, that warrior spirit, I think is what you called it. Have you guys found that yet, or are you still searching a little bit for this team's identity?
Yeah, you know, I haven't pulled anything like that out yet. But you know, we talk a lot just about being connected, you know, and trying to get this team connected completely on both sides of the ball. And so I think, you know, the reason we haven't pulled anything like that yet is, like, you know, I think this team is there. It's totally different than a year ago where I thought we kind of had to, like, redefine ourselves a little bit. This team is there, man. We've just had a really tough schedule. I mean, you think about the games that we've dropped here lately. I mean, we come back from Christmas and we go to Texas A&M. You know, they're top 10 team in the country, and then we have a disappointing home loss, but, you know, against a team that I think we've had 7 straight 1-possession or 2-possession games with them, and then we go on the road for 2 conference games. Like, it's just part of it's situational. I think very easily we could be 3-1 in that stretch, but we're not. So we just got to continue to get better, and I think this team has got everything it takes to make a strong run, be a contender, and have a chance in March. Thanks, guys. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I went home for the